Crisco. So to be honest, I'm not quite sure what kind of magical healing properties these have, but Gran lived by them. So for as long as I can remember, Gran was a firm believer that Crisco should go in everything. And Centrum Silver was the only medicine she and Pete took on a daily basis, unless it was an extra hard day, and then they would add a baby aspirin and some X-Lax. So, number 2 is to be happy. So Gran was possibly one of the happiest people I know, and she wanted all of us to be happy. So whenever I wanted something, of course Mom would say no. So I would go to Nana, and on the rare event Nana would say no, I would end up at Gran, which of course was a yes. Because she believed that she might not be here next year, so she's just going to buy it for them now. And that was something that she told Mom and Uncle Evan from the time they were little. Number 3 is to find your roots and plant them. So it's hard for me to imagine living in one place for 104 years without complaints, and that's what Gran did. And she spent over 70 of those years in the exact same house, which is even more amazing. But she was happy in DeKalb. It was where her family lived and where she was able to keep tabs on everybody's business. She would keep the phone lines up and going, keeping track with where Donnie and Chris were, or Geraldine and Quincy, or Suzanne and Paul Ferris. Number 4 is not to shy away from hard work. Gran was always very hardworking. She never could quite sit still. Whether she was at the Piggly Wiggly or in the garden with Pete or mowing the yard, she always had to be doing something. And even when she got older and we would try and come and mow the yard for her, she would wake up at sunrise and open the umbrella that was bungee corded to the back of the mower, and then open her umbrella hat with that extra bit of protection and mow the yard before we could ever even get there. So number 5 is to have an opinion and know how to express it. So Gran was never quite one to shy away from her opinion, sometimes whether you were ready for it or not. She would always, whenever we were in the grocery store and she would see somebody she knew, she would say, well, they've gotten so big I never would have recognized them. So, which she also told us sometimes. But luckily, sometimes she would also try and soften her opinions. She never ever liked when I had a beard, and every time she would see it, she'd ask if she needed to buy me a razor, or even better, she would offer to share her nose hair trimmer with me. Yes. Number 6 is to drive it like you stole it. So for those of you that have had the privilege of riding anywhere with Gran, you know she never went slow, and we're lucky to have you with us here today. She would just turn out in that big old truck of Pete's and floor it, spinning gravel and burning rubber up that little street they lived on. And even when she got older and her primary form of transportation was a self-propelled wheelchair, she would be going as fast as her little legs could take her up and down the nursing home halls. And after about a week, I'm pretty sure she thought she ran the place.
She did.
We're not the only ones. So number 7 is to live simply and embrace change. So from the time I was born to the time she moved into the nursing home, Gran was a very simple person. She liked her t-shirts and blue jean shorts, and she always had her hair really short, and that was what she liked, and so it was Gran, so we just let her do what she wanted. But then when she moved in the nursing home, she suddenly decided to have a fashion revival. And all of a sudden she wanted her fingernails painted, and she wore sparkly Mardi Gras beads at age 100 with Mardi Gras beads. And these gigantic rings that were bigger than her fingers, and if the shirt had a sequin on it, she'd wear it, and if not, it would stay in the closet. And then she even became somewhat of an entrepreneur in her later years with the jewelry. She would borrow other people's jewelry her friends in the nursing home, sometimes without their knowledge, but we think it was to keep the inventory in stock. So never think you're too old to change, because at age 100, I first saw Gran wear fingernail polish. And number 8, and this one is the most important, is to always eat your dessert first. So Gran could cook anything. She would throw some cans together with Crisco and butter and sugar and all the healthy stuff, and we thought it was just the greatest stuff ever. But her real treat was baking pies or brownies or just some kind of dessert. And of course, she would always try to set the good example and eat her meal first, but sweets and desserts were truly always on her mind. And because she believed that life was too short, even after passing 100, not to eat her dessert first. So Gran would not want for us to be sad today. She would want us to smile and laugh. And nothing brings me more comfort than knowing that Gran is in a better place, that Pete was there waiting for her when she got there, and that by the time we get there, everything will be laid out and in order, ready for us to go.
Amen.